Welcome to the Liverpool FC Journal. I'm OW James. This is your Liverpool news update, guys, ahead obviously of the game tomorrow night, Wednesday night at Anfield against newly promoted surprise package Sunderland, who are having a pretty good season under their manager Regis Lebris, I think his name is. They spent £127.5 million in the summer. That's a lot of money on new talent, and they've done really, really well. And there'll be a massive test for Liverpool tomorrow night. And I think, what's been really funny for me, though, is the fact that they're actually above Newcastle, and after all the crap that Newcastle fans have come out with since the Isak situation, it's actually quite funny to see that. And I certainly, for one, hope that Sunderland beat Newcastle in that derby and really ram it down their throats. Right, look, it is a situation with this team that Liverpool need to back up that victory against West Ham on Sunday with another win. I think, to be honest with you, coming into these next two games against Sunderland and Leeds, two newly promoted teams, only 6 points is acceptable. Any points dropped and the pressure goes right back on Arne Slot. I think it's been quite interesting. There's a lot of people and a lot of fans coming out with the same dialogue after Sunday that, look, it's only West Ham. Even West Ham fans have joked, that teams thought they were turning things around and then when they came to West Ham, and then they realised it was just West Ham. I've got to say, personally, I do feel for West Ham. I really do feel for them and their fans. Look, that ground that they play in now, it's dreadful. It's not a football ground at all. And I remember the old days of having to go to Upton Park, and that was horrible. That was just a really hostile atmosphere, a hostile place to go. It made them the team they were. And I think the move to that stadium is a massive error. And I think the team's ownership, rightly have been criticised and put under a lot of pressure by their fans. And I wish their fans all the best for the rest of the season. But in terms of our team, obviously Arne Slot has spoken today to the media, and there's a lot of selection dilemmas and a lot of things coming out of that press conference, and a lot of things obviously building up to tomorrow's game. Obviously, one of the biggest topics of conversation was the form of Florian Wirtz, and look, he's going to get slaughtered and slagged off no matter what happens. Opposition fans, they want to see him fail. They want to see him, be just. They want to see him, not succeed, because if he does succeed, which he will do, I believe, then, at the end of the day, it's going to be bad for them, because this is one of the best players in world football right now. And like I said, the criticism that he's had, and even, in the wake of that good performance against West Ham, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, it's jealousy. It's pure, unadulterated jealousy. And Arne Slot was very positive, obviously, about how Florian Wirtz performed on Sunday. Talking about his performance. Talk about the response of the team, and he'd been very, very complimentary about that. He said he talked about Florian Wirtz's performance, and he said good, as the team played a very good game against West Ham. Recently, I've been asked a lot about individuals when they've played maybe not a game of their usual standards. I've pointed out the team every single time. Now, after a positive performance from Florian, I can acknowledge that, but I also want to emphasise the performance was much better from some others on the team as well. So, very Slot kind of defer the aim and take the pressure off to some extent off one player and kind of put it onto the whole team. Wirtz was great. I mean, I think looking at that performance on Sunday, that has to be the future of Liverpool. He has to be the man that runs this game. He's got to be the one who, is the go-to guy. He is the midfield general, the guy who controls this team. A lot of time, obviously, it was Salah. We always went to Salah. He's now past it. I think he's, Father Time has won the battle there. But, Wirtz, to me, looked clever on the ball. He was involved a lot. If you look at his touch map, he was all over the pitch. His pass accuracy was 95%. His chance creation has actually been really good in the Premier League. He's one of the top 5, I think, in the Premier League in terms of chance creation. It's not his fault the ball has not been put in the back of the net. So this whole shit about, he doesn't create assists, he doesn't do anything, from opposition fans is just ridiculous. And when some of them are Man United fans, I mean, what do you expect? Man United fans, absolute typical idiot mancs who know fuck all about football. They really do. One of the most deluded fan bases on planet Earth. But yeah, Florian, I think, to me, Florian has got to start tomorrow night, and he's got to be given the keys to the car, as I said on yesterday's video, yet again. He really does have to. But, Arne Slot faces some real big selection dilemmas going into that game against Sunderland. Does he stick with the same team? Or does he rotate the team, with obviously the amount of games we've got coming up? Is there an element of looking to the weekend against Leeds and then obviously beyond that to the Champions League ties and saying, well, look, Salah will leave on the 15th of December. That was confirmed in the press conference. Does he bring Salah back in? Does he play? Can Gomez go again? One of the big things, obviously, about Joe Gomez has been his fitness. Can he actually do 2-3 games in a week, or is that something beyond Joe Gomez? Do we have a situation where once again we're going to go into the game with, Sobbo or Curtis Jones at right back? One positive may have been, though, the news that Connor Bradley has been training with the first team and could well be back for that Leeds game at the weekend, which may therefore lead to Arne being more willing to risk Joe Gomez in this game against Sunderland on Wednesday. Personally think that no matter what, no matter who you start in at right wing on Wednesday against Sunderland, I think Gomez has to play. Because I just think the defence looks so much more solid, and I think it helped Ibu Konate. I thought Konate was the worst of the four defenders for what it's worth on Sunday, but I do think that having Joe Gomez there makes that back four look a whole lot more solid. Arne Slot was obviously asked about the whole Mo Salah situation, and he obviously talked about the fact that Mo was unhappy at being left out of the team. Look, that's standard. Any professional footballer is unhappy at being dropped from a football team. Let's not read too much into this. Let's not read this as Mo's having a strop, because he quite clearly isn't. This is what Arne had to say. He says, I got this question already a lot. It's every time we play a game, when I don't play Florian Wirtz, I don't play Alexander Isak, when I don't play Hugo Ekitike, when I don't play Mo Salah. It's about that, which is normal because they're all outstanding players. And Mo has had an unbelievable career here at this club and will have a very, very good future at this club because he's such a special player. 4 games in 10 days with only 14 to 15 outfield players available to us. Then you have to decide once in a while to make certain lineup, and you try to pick the best lineup for every single game. Today, with the way they set up with a fullback that is constantly very high and a winger that is constantly inside, I thought this could help the team. Like I said, he has been very important for this club and will be important for the club in the future. To me, reading that comment, reading what Slot has had to say, and looking at how Slot has handled this situation in the past, I think he'll start Salah on Wednesday. I do think he'll start Salah on Wednesday. If he does, I hope he plays Gomez behind him because we'll need more defensive protection there. I personally think that if he plays Salah on Wednesday, it is a mistake. I genuinely do. I'd be more willing to bring Mo Salah into the team for the game against Leeds than the game against Sunderland. I think Leeds are less of a threat. One thing that you look at that Sunderland team that are doing well this season, and one of the big concerns is their left-hand side. The way they play. You've got a situation where their fullback Mandava, Taibi, their winger, Enzo Lefay, their 10, drifts out wide left and overloads that wide left side, which is the right-hand side of our defence. Now, if you've got a situation where Mo is again not tracking back, which he doesn't do because he doesn't like to defend, and he never does defend, and he is lazy from that aspect, then it's going to overload Joe Gomez, and it's going to overload that side, and it's going to create weaknesses. And I think one of the big positives for me from Sunday was we were more solid down that side, because when Sobbo drifted out to the right, he was more willing to track back. He was willing to cover back, which gave Joe Gomez that protection, which you don't get when Salah plays there. My concern, like I said, is that they are good down their left-hand side. They've got a good left-hand side to that team. Like I said, Taibi, Mandava, Lefay drifts out there. They are good down that side. So it is a major worry for me that if he plays Salah, that we will have that issue again and again and again on Wednesday and get overloaded down that side. If we go in, I think, with the same team that played on Sunday, I think we beat Sunderland. If we change it and we play Salah there, I think we either draw or lose. I don't think we win the game. That's how much of a difference I think it will make to this game, because of the fact that they are good at going forward down that left-hand side, and that is a big weakness that they will exploit. And look, that seems sacrilegious to talk about that, but look, Mo has not been good this season, and that's going to really upset Salah FC out there. And I think there's a lot of our fans, and I read a comment this morning on X, very much this fact, which was a ridiculous comment, that the only reason Liverpool are able to sign big players is because of Mo Salah, which is bollocks. This is Liverpool Football Club, one of the biggest football clubs in world football. It's not Salah FC. I think the cult status of this player has got ridiculous now. look, I would love Mo to come back in on Wednesday and be brilliant and him score a hat-trick and win the game and whatever. But at the moment, he's just not there. And after that good performance and the fact that Florian Wirtz had more independence because of the fact Salah wasn't there and looked better because of it, I think it would be a huge error to bring him back in. I think if Salah comes back in on Wednesday and Wirtz plays as well, you will see less Wirtz than you would normally, than you saw on Sunday, for example. So that's a big concern for me. It's a big worry for me. Really genuinely is. So, look, at the end of the day, I do feel that the best way going forward now, if Salah will play again, and I'm not saying don't play him again. Leeds, I think, is a better game for him to play against. Brighton, definitely. This one just concerns me, given the fact that, they went to Stamford Bridge, they won. They held Arsenal to a draw at home. They're no mugs. They are no mugs. And for me, we need to go in with our strongest in 11. And our strongest 11 at the moment, with the players that are fit, that's the big question, the players that are fit, does not include Mo Salah for me. It really genuinely doesn't. This is the team that I would play in that game. Alisson in goal, obviously. Gomez at right back. Given the fact that Bradley could play against Leeds, I would risk Gomez. Konate and Van Dijk, because there is nobody else. Robertson, I would bring back in at left back. I thought Kirkes was very, very good. Don't get me wrong. On Sunday, but Robertson, I think, in this game will be more of a leader. I think it's a bit more of a solidity there. Is what we need. The midfield three, again, I would go with Gravenberch, Sobbo and McAllister. Whether that's Wirtz comes into the midfield and Sobbo goes right, I don't know. Wirtz, Ekitike, Gakpo. Ekitike, I think, has to start. Isak, apparently, was a bit stiff, had a bit of stiffness in his groin after the game, according to the manager. So I certainly wouldn't be risking him in this game. Have him on the bench as an option, certainly, but don't start him. So for me, Ekitike starts up top. That's my starting 11. That, I think, gives us the best chance to win that game on Wednesday night. Very similar to the team we played on Sunday. The only change, like I said, is Robertson for Kirkes. Gakpo. Look, Cody's had a lot of criticism. Don't get me wrong. But I thought he did well second half. He got the assist, he got the goal. And he can always chip in with goals. He always will. And I think, realistically, there is no... Again, the manager ain't going to play Chiesa. And he ain't going to play Rio and Gamoa. So they can talk all they want. And I think there's a lot of bollocks talked from the club about not wanting to sign a left winger because we don't want to block Rio's path. When realistically, the only person blocking Rio's path to the first team is Arne Slot. So that, for me, would be my team. I personally don't think the manager will play that team. I think he won't play Gomez. I think he'll play someone else at right back, whether that's Jones or Sobbo. And I think he'll play Salah on the right. And I don't think we win. I think we probably draw, if I'm being honest, 1-1. I think if that team plays, if we play as we did Sunday, like I said, I think we win 2-3-1. Easy. But look, who am I to say? I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I'm just a fan talking about this team. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments going into this game on Wednesday night against Sunderland. A tough game, certainly. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions, your lineups. And if you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.